Hi, I'm Mack, and I'm on a mission to see the hurting get healed and the healed go out and heal others, in order for all of us to experience the true love and light we desire. This podcast is me sharing my journey with you, so you don't feel alone in your journey. Welcome to the Golden Rule Revolution. My dear brothers and sisters, welcome to the Golden Rule Revolution. I am Mack, and thank you for joining. Thank you for taking the time out of your life, your day, and in this now moment, in this present moment, joining me on this journey and joining me in this episode. I am so honored, excited, and blessed to bring to you today Crystal, the Energetic Alchemist, on the episode. This divine soul, this beautiful, beautiful soul, who I have been following for quite a while and absolutely love her content. I was honored that she shared one of my posts. She's just beautiful, inside and out. And when I talk about beauty, I'm not talking about the physical attributes. Although, yes, she's physically beautiful. That's not what I'm talking about. That's not what we are entering. When I say beautiful, there is some divine sparkle from the divine spark that she radiates that is in us all. And she is a great example of how to let that out, how to express that, and how to be the permission for others to express it as well. I'm so happy to bring her on this episode, and I know it will bless you. So without any further delay, here is the Energetic Alchemist. I want to start by saying thank you.
Received. And thank you. I mean, I'm standing in the bathroom earlier today and I'm like, this would be really cool. Like, let's get together. Let's do some energy work together. And then let's come back and really talk about shit, right? Yeah. Oh, I'm cussy. Am I allowed to swear?
Yeah, it's okay. It's okay.
Okay.
Let it rip. Freedom.
So I just think it would be really cool to really do some work together and then come back and talk about that experience. Cause it's cool to come here and talk about what we're doing and what's getting put on social media and how it's impacting people and the messages and stuff like that. But it's a whole nother experience to come and co-create together. So I'd be honored to do that, and then come back together and talk about what you experience and what that was like for you. Because the first thing I wanted to tell you, and you hit record, but here we are. Your guides came forward very strongly when I was getting ready. And I do that a lot in session. It's like the guidance will start to come forward and I'll get these messages as I'm kind of gathering myself. And your guides want you to know to stop seeking that purpose because you're here. This is so big for you. You have no idea where you're going in this movement. I know you have an iota, but you really, really have to start to ground yourself in what you're doing right here, because what you're doing is fucking big. And we can't keep denying our light. We follow our passions and we do all this work to be able to show up in this place, and we're changing lives. And it's like society wants us to believe this whole time that you can't see those good places inside of you. And it's such bullshit. And I just want everybody to know, seek your light. Yeah. I've been saying this on Instagram, but see it, show up in front of yourself and say, I see you. I see what you're doing. We're rocking this.
Yeah.
We're not just sitting around and talking about things that are happening. Right. We're sharing our hearts.
Yes.
That's where change happens. That's where New Earth comes in.
Wow.
Yeah. So I'm also blessed to be here with you.
Oh, it says I have chills all down my arms.
Yeah, God bumps, right? Because they're here. The angels are here,
Mm.
source is here, your guides here, my guides are here, the galactics.
Yeah.
They're all here watching this transform. This is an absolute amazing time to be on the planet. And I know there's a lot of people right now that are still tuning into that fear and still tapping into some of that matrixy program. But find people who light you up, because there's something in that truth.
Mm.
There's something in that truth.
Mm.
Yeah.
So beautiful. I was telling my brother and I were having a conversation. We both left that very dogmatic Christian world where, you know, the mark of the beast and the being, you know, all that stuff. And he's done a lot of work himself, and he's on the path. And I said,
Yeah.
you know, even if it comes to our door, it will not enter our door.
It
And
won't.
it won't come through the door. It can
It
come through
won't.
the
And
door.
here's why. This is why. Because energetically, you don't match those vibrations. So, how is something going to come into your experience when you're not a vibrational match to it? And that's why I say to people, we can dig into our healing and we can look at all the really bad stuff that's going on, because it's there. It's there in a reality that exists here for us to see. But we can also choose to seek our power in those moments. Like, we are so godly in these times.
Yes.
Mm.
Yes. 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 I had this
Yeah.
vision. That the earth is, everything's being rolled up right now. The darkness is being rolled up
Yeah.
in love, and people who are waiting in fear for the darkness to go quick, snap, be done.
Yeah.
I saw that even sometimes, like if I don't sleep well, I'll take melatonin, and then in the morning I'm like, oh my gosh, my eyes are burning, and I'm like almost upset that it's already morning. And I feel like that is happening to so many. They're this light that's coming, it kind of hurts. So love is, the truth is being revealed in such a loving pace.
Just
It's
the way
not,
God intended. And I
yes,
don't mean God as in like the religious God. I mean
right.
God as in that force that lives within all of us.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. You know, it's a funny
Yeah.
thing, the word God, like, of course, God is not God, because how can we even fathom? It's just a word we put to it.
Yeah.
You know, it's
Yeah.
like,
And, I love to use it. And this may sound kind of shitty, but I love to use it because it triggers people. And I want them to be triggered. I want them to be triggered out of that mind state of thinking that God is something that it's not. Because God is the energy that creates within all of us.
yes.
And not only are we that energy, but we can give it to people, and we can show up in this world right now where things kind of look ugly to other people with that energy, and make them recognize that within us, we have the ability to come back together. We have the ability to break free from this program. There's nothing holding us back other than the thoughts that have been imposed on us, the things that have been told to us. This is who you are. This is who you should be if you want to be somebody here in this realm. And it's just such bullshit.
Bullshit. It is.
My fiance likes that term. She drops those like nobody's business. It's like she'll see a belief system wrapping and she's like, ooh, that doesn't even make any sense. That's bullshit. And she's just done with it.
Yeah.
Me, on the other hand, I'm like, okay, but how does it work?
Playing
how did
with
they
it.
get
Yeah.
me?
Looking at it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Looking at it all. Yeah. It's, first of all, I watched your live for a little bit you did yesterday on Instagram with another beautiful soul, and I popped on right when you said, I check energy matches or frequency matches, and if it's not a frequency, and I want you to know how honored I am to be here with you.
Yeah, it's really cool. You're like the second person I've ever kind of done this type of stuff with. I don't know why I've always kind of veered away from it. I think I needed to ground myself more in this space before I was willing to co-create. I needed to really know, like, what is my truth? I grew up with people pushing truths on me a lot. And it took me a little bit to unravel that and really come to this place, like we were saying earlier. And so I needed to be able to stand firm in it, because I knew in my heart I was being called to this place of being a way shower. And so when you stand there and you're talking to people about things that may trigger belief systems, religious belief systems, just ideas on how we have come to be as a society to this point, when you trigger those, their first reaction when they're not necessarily grounded in who they are is to project at you. And if you're not stable in your light in those spaces, that projection will tumble you over. And then you fall into those places of doubt, like, well, was I wrong? Was I not speaking my truth? Did that come from a place of malintent? And you start to kind of doubt yourself. And so I knew to come into this space, I really had to ground it. And I'm so excited and proud to say, like, I'm ready to now.
Yeah. Well,
like, I'm ready now.
Your content and your energy, that it's beautifully named. Your name is beautiful. Your real name, Crystal.
Yeah.
Crystal clear, even in the content in this digital space, it's crystal clear. It's
very intentional. I had the intention when I knew this was coming in that I had to be a clear channel. And so I dove headfirst into the work. I knew that the gift was there and it was coming, but I had to figure out who I was because it felt clouded. And I have seen I've had experiences with people who do energy work with me, and they themselves were not a clear vessel. They weren't doing all the work to clear and heal their own trauma. And so things would get projected at me based on their own fears. And because I was already releasing that, I could see it from broader perspective. And so I had a very clear intention coming into this that I really have to do the work. I have to be a clear vessel. I have to be able to move myself out of the way so that what I'm connecting to, this God force energy, can just come through and be felt, because that's what's needed right now.
Yes. Well, it's coming through.
So thank you for acknowledging that.
Yes, absolutely. Tell me your journey of awakening in your life.
Man.
What a fascinating journey.
I had a rough start. I did not grow up in a feathered nest. And I've been kind of emotional today, so bear with me. I might need to take a few moments to breathe. I chose a family that had a lot of trauma, and that trauma was projected at me, and I was told a lot that I was a bad kid. And it made me really angry because it wasn't who I was. So I started to act out, and then I reinforced that idea that I was this bad kid, right? So I've spent a lot of years looking at that bad kid, trying to figure out, well, why were you so bad? And I came to the realization I wasn't bad. The people around me were triggered by my light. And so they needed me to fit in a box. And because I refused to do that, I was the bad kid. So I started off as the bad kid. And because of that, I searched a lot for healing. I mean, I was 10, 11 years old looking at self-help books in Barnes & Noble before I would go meet my friends for the movies next door. And I was just always in search of the truth. In 2008, I was introduced to Esther Hicks, Abraham, and the law of attraction. And it changed everything within me because it gave me a choice. It made me realize I had a choice. I didn't have to feel bad. I didn't have to be that bad kid. And I didn't know I had that. Yeah, that was life-changing. So it was the Ask and It Is Given book by Esther Hicks that changed my life. I dove in. I couldn't stop. I did all the processes. I did the meditations. And my dreams were just coming true and unfolding. And I was traveling and moving to the places where I wanted to live to fulfill these dreams that I wanted. But I also in that space realized that I was chasing something that I needed to create within. And that's what Abraham gave me. That I really needed to create this within. It wasn't going to be in the job. It wasn't going to be in that awesome city. It was going to be within me. So I started heading in that direction. And that's when I met my fiance. She has been on this path for a long time. She's been awake for probably 30 years, 25 years. And so she introduced me to things like the fifth dimension and cosmic family and what that was. And all of a sudden, these weird things in my life started to make sense. You know, when I would go on a walk and I would run past these bushes because in my heart, I just knew there was like an alien in the bush. And I know that sounds so crazy, but I was connecting to my cosmic family and I was just interpreting through my fear and my filter. So like lots of things started to come together when we came together. And she taught me that there was nothing wrong with me. And I was able to heal my heart. I love her so much. Bless her soul. Yeah, so quite the journey. And so in, the end of 2016, I started going to see this psychic and they were like, you just have to meditate. You can do what I do. And I'm like, oh, you're crazy. You're crazy. And then they're meditate, these signs, meditate. So one day I just got sick of things not kind of feeling right, feeling off as far as like my own internal happiness. And I decided I was going to do 21 days of meditation. And within 2 weeks, I was humming and toning in the bathtub, and I didn't know what that was. I was just kind of singing these hums, but I felt them activating me. And then this beautiful thing called light language came forward, and it gave me the recognition that I was tuning into something outside of myself, and it felt really good. And then I began to ask questions, and my guides would start to step forward and tell me who they are and why they're here and what our connection is. And one by one, I've been given a guide about every 6 months to a year who's been guiding me into another level of my ascension. And because they said to me, just follow the popcorn trail, whatever your intuition tells you, just follow it. I followed it, and this communication came forward, and my third eye opened, and my energy centers cleared. And I decided to step into that space of the person that I kind of thought I needed in that time when I was trying to navigate this. So I opened up a YouTube and just started putting things out there. I was very small for a long time, literally blew up. Just tons and tons of people have been coming. About 4 months ago, right around the time of COVID. It's been incredible. I never expected to be here, but I just keep following these steps because I know God's leading me, and I see the impact that I have on people when I work with somebody, and then they email me back, 4 months later, and they're like, oh my gosh, everything changed. Everything's perfect. And I have my dream job, and I'm with my partner, and things are well. And it just feels so satisfying to know that I just help light that fire within them so that they too could recognize not only that God inside, but that they can do it. You can move out of the trauma. You can move out of the hard stuff, and you can still become who you've always been meant to be. There's nothing here holding us back. And I really just want everybody to know that. The only thing that holds us back is our thoughts about ourselves, about life. And the more we can dismantle these with the truth of love, anything's possible. Anything's possible.
Yes.
Yeah.
Incredible.
It's been a crazy ride. It's been a crazy ride. So.
I have never, up until 2020, ever felt like I fit in on this earth.
Same.
Ever. And now I feel like, whoa, everything makes sense. Everything. Like this is.
Yeah.
Like this. Everything.
Yeah.
And I went so deep into religion. I went to find the truth because I grew up in such trauma and confusion and I went into viscerally take the system down, almost like a Samson from within the walls to push the whole thing down. But it was killing me. I mean, that analogy, Samson died in that. Like, and I didn't want to die. I didn't come here to die. I came here to live, and I came here to show what love is and what truth and beauty is. And
there you go.
I just
hang on to that. Stay there. Hang on to that. Keep telling yourself those things. Because we need people like you. We need people like me. We need people that are willing to stand in these spaces and be vulnerable and say, come along. Come on. We got this.
It's such it's such a rich time. First of all, I just feel like we've been friends for forever. I just want you to know. I just like, oh, hey, how you doing?
I know, right? I know. It's the coolest thing. It's like you meet these people and you know that we've done this before. You can't deny it. Yeah. You know that we've attempted this ascension time and time again. And that's where releasing this fear is coming from. It's from all those times we tried and maybe it didn't turn out so well for us. But now we're here and it's done. This isn't a process of if. We are watching it manifest. The manifestation that's in front of us, that's old news. All of this exposure, all of this disclosure is happening because we've been begging for our sovereignty and freedom back for eons now. Yes. And so as the light has been able to come in and help us assist in raising our vibration, there's no way it can't manifest on Earth. And so right now, what we see in front of us is old news. And we need to keep focusing on what's coming. Those of us who feel drawn to that need to keep focused on what's coming because that's how we pull it in. And you're exactly where you're supposed to be. Remind yourself of that every day. You are God-led, and you know that. You know that. You are a God-led man. You follow that peace in your heart that knows the truth, that knows who you are. Maybe you can't always organize it. Maybe you can't always place it when things are moving really quickly, but you know who you are. You've never lost that. Yeah, there's a lot of people proud of you on that other side of the veil. So feel their love more frequently. Let that in, right? That's what I was talking about yesterday when I made that post about grace. It's like, allow yourself the moments to just be basking in the love that's here to show up. Not everybody can feel that right now, and I do understand that. And that's why it's so important for those of us who can feel it. Because then we can show and talk about what that feels like to other people. Because once you start to get an energy in your mind or an experience in your mind, it's ready to manifest for you. Yeah, we are the manifestation of love. We are the manifestation of the Christly consciousness. We are the manifestation of the kingdom of heaven being born again on earth. Yes. We are the new earth. We are Atlantis rising. We are Lemuria rising. Yes. We're all of it. Yeah. It's so good to be here with you.
Same. It's so it's so beautiful. I did a podcast last night with this beautiful soul, and he found me from when I did an episode with Lori Ladd, and he reached out to me and he said, hey, you might not remember me, but I met you 20 years ago briefly, and I have an album of yours. And I was like, I knew exactly who he was. And
did you?
Yeah, it was so wild. And we were talking about the sovereignty that is arising, truly being in one sovereign place in love and light, and he's a musician, and he's this incredible musician. We were talking about melodies and resonance and tone and richness and beauty, and he chose to be in a Black family in Seattle, and just all the richness that we're all coming from these places to stand here now.
Yeah.
And it is so beautiful.
It is. And it's only going to get more exponentially beautiful from here. Like we really can't, our minds even now are still so connected to this earthly realm and what we've been seeing in front of us that we really can't fathom what's to come. We really can't fathom what it's like to have free energy and not have to pay to live and to eat and not to literally never work again and have all the abundance that you need. And then what do you do in that space?
Yes.
I mean, talk about the Great Awakening. People think that we're going through the awakening right now. We're going through disclosure. The awakening is going to happen when you recognize the original blueprint within you and the fact that you've never tuned into it a day in your life. Now what? Now what? Who are we from this place? Right? It's just, there's so much good coming to this planet because the word sovereignty to many is like, yeah, well, you know, people are talking about going back to constitutional law and that's bringing back a lot of sovereignty and Nasara Jasara, and that will bring back a lot of sovereignty. But we're talking total no more government control, like just you living, you going out and living and co-creating within a community that's going to be there when you need help building a house or, you know, it's just going to be so amazing. It's going to be so amazing. I'm really excited.
It is so.
And I love when I get to come into a place and like just be my weird self.
I love it. I don't think it's weird. I think it's great.
It's perfect.
It's beautiful. I did a podcast interview this morning and you just said something and I think the perceived division. Okay. Yeah. The people that he made this statement, he said, if we really cared about the earth, we wouldn't drive, we wouldn't do these things. I realized in that moment that, and I said, you know, we're all climbing up the same mountain. You think we're on a different side. We all are going to like, hey, how you doing? At the top of the mountain. But and even you're talking about sovereignty with like the governmental, you know, Nasara, Jasara, and these things, which are beautiful and may they be. And that's not what it is, because what I realized when he was talking, he's looking at us as the cause of the problem when the quote unquote deep state or the ones that are literally taking from the planet who have created this, all this stuff leaves. Yeah. And then I've always seen, well, what's the next adventure? It's not even from this earthly plane. It's like, where do we want to go? Where can we be the ambassadors of love and light? The whole existence looks at us and saying, wow. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, people, it's like my guides say all the time, like, you have no idea how many souls fought for this spot and you're here. You know, how many people how many energies, how many beings are in this atmosphere watching this transition happen? You know, it's like, this is such a special time. And when it's like, well, I'm just going to sound crazy then. So it's like when the galactic communication comes forward and when the telepathic structure within us begins to truly be ignited, because we're just now getting into the places where this is being activated within our DNA. But when we get to the place where we really understand it and how to use it, we are not these small beings just here on this earth. We are going to be in and out of realm, in and out of dimension. We are going to be exploring and researching and collecting data in ways that we've never even conceived of. You think that you want to go to Aruba. Well, have you ever been to the Pleiades? Yeah, like, right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
There's going to, and I'm not just talking about the stars. I'm talking about the realm.
Yes.
Do you want to go experience your history in Atlantis? Because you can physically go experience that history. The whole concept of who we are has been masked from us fully. And when we get to the point where we're like, ooh, full grounding of all that's in here, literally limitless, just limitless. And it is where we're going. And I believe that so fully. When, I don't know.
And it doesn't even matter because
the energy starts on the inside. Yes. And if you can't cultivate the energy inside, you're not going to be a vibrational match to that right now anyway. And so there's where that confusion comes in when people are like, here's the mountain and everybody's climbing up this and you get to have this experience, you get to have this, right? It's like the 3D, 5D divide.
Yes.
And you get to have this experience. And we are all going to the same place.
Yes.
It's all about what energy you want to carry in the meantime.
Right.
Do you want to live this experience in fear, or do you want to tune into what a lot of people are tuning into, which is love and joy and expansion?
Yes.
There is a choice at play. I think a lot of people think that ascension is just going to happen to you. And while yes, it is, these energies are going to come to you regardless.
Yeah.
There comes a time where you do have to make a choice whether or not you're going to participate.
Yes.
And if you choose not to participate, that's fine, because you can choose again when you're ready, however long it is for you, however long it is for you. But there's so much more of a broad experience that's going to be available to us that I don't feel many are going to sit back and just keep choosing this lower density.
It's the choosing. And by the way, I love the music that you have in the background. It's so beautiful. So beautiful.
Thank you. It just helps me chill out because I get really nervous doing this.
Oh, well, it's beautiful. And it's beautiful. Yeah. I feel it too.
Good.
There's going to be what I've seen since I was a little boy. I remember 4 years old having this vision, and I grew up violated and horrible trauma and all this stuff, all the stuff. And
that's why you like my boundaries.
Yeah. Yes.
We relate there big time, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's why I feel like it's so clean. When I say clean, I mean, it's just like, I love it.
Yeah. Here I am. Take it or leave it. Right.
Yes, that's right. That's right. And I saw these stadiums, and no hyperbole, I mean, the biggest stadiums in the world. And love just washes from top to bottom. People come, and the quote unquote altar calls of the 3D world don't exist in this place, but it's an invitation. Do you now need to cry? Do you need to be held? Are you a perpetrator in times past that are finally ready to unburden your soul and be? I can't absolve you. No human can absolve, but you can be free in this place. And this happens all over the planet.
Yeah.
And a couple days ago, I woke up like 3:30 in the morning, and I saw the planet rejoice. All humans at once, at the time zone, all were rejoicing,
like running out of their house.
Yes. And I have chills right now.
That's new earth coming through. You're seeing it. And I would also just like to validate the stadium thing, because I've been having that vision my whole life also, but I experience it in a different realm. I travel, and when I get to where I'm going, I'm in a massive, massive stadium type outside amphitheater, and it's in the middle of a forest. And so it's almost like it's protected. And I'm standing there talking to these people, and I start looking around, and I'm noticing we're all Jesus, and I couldn't figure out what was going on. I'm like, this is the craziest dream, because this was well before I woke up, right? So I'm like, okay, so we're all Jesus. Like, my brain couldn't wrap around this.
Yes.
And I started thinking about this like a month ago, and that was a reoccurring dream for me. It is the Christic consciousness coming forward, and the people who feel connected to that energy of oneness and unity and love coming forward and really taking people in and giving them what they need. Like literally just sitting down and having conversations about life and energy and who we really are. And how do you need my assistance in helping you heal your heart?
Yes.
Where can I guide you? I know teachers, I know healers. It's like we literally just show up in these places to gather and commune, and it's so cool. So when I talk about this like new world community, that's exactly what it is. It's like the energy of the light workers and way showers coming forward to gather in these huge places and offer themselves. And it's going to be such a wonderful time, because Nothing else exists. You don't do it out of need. You don't do it out of manipulation. You're not doing it to try and be seen, because those energies aren't there. We show up out of the fullness of our heart, knowing that we're here to help humanity also transition into this new earth energy, which I'll reiterate exists within us.
Yes. So,
Yeah.
that's so, I'm glad, I've never said this on the podcast one time, but I shared this probably 3 years ago. I had since I was little, I was afraid. I thought I was the Antichrist. That was this thing that kept coming up in like, am I the Antichrist? This is just weirdest thing. And Christ meaning freedom, Messiah meaning the liberator.
Yes.
That I have fully now understood in the family structure I grew up in, the power structure, that I am the Antichrist, the Antichrist to that system. I am actually Antichrist to the 3D, but the liberator to the 5D. And I was on a journey one time and on medicine, and it was very deep, and I heard like Jesus like right next to me say, I came to die. That was my job, but you came to live. Now live. And I was like, it like,
can I share with you?
Please.
Yeah. So your guidance is telling me that at that time you were choosing between the dark and the light. That was the split in your timeline of your actual life of whether or not you were going to choose the light or the dark, because we've all had those choices, even in this timeline of ascension. And you were staring in the face the dark that's been showing up time and time again. And it's not just that the dark shows up in your life, it's that it was there in your bloodline. And it was this cycle that you had to choose to break. And so in choosing to break that cycle, you have chosen to come into the light of the Christed consciousness, which is the unity, the oneness, just knowing that we all have what we need within us, and that we can all come into this space of loving each other and letting each other be, not having such an emotional attachment to what your neighbor or brother or sister is doing. Right. Let people live their life and go live yours. I mean, I know that sounds even 3D in itself, but it's such a beautiful energetic practice. You don't belong in everybody's business, right? That gets your energy all out of whack. But anyways, back to it. That was definitely you choosing the light over the dark. I get distracted because I'm like half in my body, half out. But yeah, I thought that was really good for you to know.
Thank you.
You can kind of let yourself off the hook now and release all that pressure you've been carrying with that. Yeah. Because that wasn't yours. No. And there were many other times in the timeline where you've probably felt that kind of resurface where you're like, whoa, what is this? Why is this back? We dealt with that. But it was just that timeline was kind of, the way time works, it kind of reverberates back around and wraps around. So we get imprints of experiences just to make sure that we're going to keep choosing the path that we're on. And you do that on purpose. That's not destiny. That's not fate. That's you saying, are you claiming back your power like you're saying you're going to? It's all, there are things that are predestined, but they are predestined by you, not some outside force. Right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Good. And they're like, thank you, because he needed to clarify that. Yeah. Good.
Oh,
your guides are very present. Your guidance is very, very present. Just like with everybody, if you can feel your guides around you, don't focus so much on meditation, because meditation is getting you into that subtle place to be able to hear, feel, and sense them. If you're already hearing, feeling, and sensing that something is communicating with you and helping guide you, then you need to start asking questions. You need to start creating dialogue. I felt that. What's the message for me? I saw that. What would you like me to know? Yeah. And just keep pulling into your heart in that space. You'll add momentum to what you're connecting to, and then your communication and your telepathy gets a lot stronger. You start to notice your abilities more. Yeah, good.
Wow.
You're so connected. You and your wife both. I would love to do work with you both.
Oh, sis. Well, then
yeah.
We would love that as well.
kind of
Oh,
interjecting it anyway. So if we
I,
need to re-record this at some point because it's too personal, I really understand.
yeah, no, it's
Good.
all is beautiful. It is, and yeah, so it's just beautiful. It's perfect. You are so
Yeah.
beautiful. It's that
Thank you,
you
brother.
really, really are.
Thank you.
And the very first time I was aware of you, my
Yeah.
wife Lauren sent me your post, and I was like, it's clean. It's just how the best way I
Yeah.
describe you is just clean and yeah, like boundaries and the
Yeah.
in your photo that you had before you switched,
Yeah.
that the teacher, the wisdom, I just appreciate you. I just
Thank
want you to
you.
know, like,
Yeah. I feel your love, and I'm in a space now where I can receive it. That's a new place too,
yeah,
And when you I'm sure you understand when you feel people and they're like, "Oh my gosh, I've been listening to you forever, I've been following you since the beginning." It's very surreal because you don't necessarily do this kind of work and this kind of stuff
for
for that.
yes, for that, right? There
And
are
then it shows up, and it is beautiful. It is really beautiful to be able to connect with all these souls. So I
mm,
receive your love.
thank you.
Um, so I was going to ask you a question and it's lost on me. So
It's
it'll
okay.
have to come back. But I had a question for you earlier. When it comes back, I'll
It will
chime
come.
in.
Beautiful. That
Yeah.
I receive your love. So in that same ceremony that I saw Jesus say, I came to die, he came to live,
Yeah.
and it was like this aligning. It was incredibly profound for Lauren and I. We sat in ceremony together, and she said to me, I feel like you're like a bathtub with a drain that doesn't have a plug, and you say your love language is words of affirmation, and I can't fill it enough.
Yeah.
And it snapped me in this precipice of now moment where I realized that I was afraid that I was going to be killed by those closest to me.
Yeah.
Truly, I would have my life taken, and that I was still afraid, even though I had done a lot of work and I was leading
Yeah.
vulnerable hero retreats. That's what they're called. And I was helping, I had like this 1%, like this thin sheath over my heart, because what did that really mean? What did it
Yeah.
really mean if I dropped my walls
Yeah.
and let you could kill me, but I trust you. Like, here I am.
Yeah.
And I realized in that moment that the greatest act of love I could give her was to
Mm.
receive her love.
Thank you for saying that.
And
That's
that
exactly what I needed to hear.
you got it, sister. And then get this. So then a week later, I'm studying with my rabbi friend, and he
Why
says,
didn't you tell me we were going to cry the whole time?
no, I've been crying now that you did it. And
Sorry.
he
Sorry.
said,
Go ahead. Go
no,
ahead.
he said the word love
Yeah.
means to give. In Hebrew, it's a
Mm.
hava, which means to give. There is no context other than give when love.
Mm.
However, I realized this in this moment. I had always heard the fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom. The fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom. And I had asked him, does this literally mean? And he said, it literally means fear. And I said, this cannot be. This does not make any sense.
Yeah.
And then in an instant, I got it. To give is love.
Yeah.
To receive is the greatest act of love. So when we give our fear, we create space to receive. And it's in the receiving that I give the greatest. God is loved by me receiving his love. My wife is loved by me by receiving. We create more love in our receiving, not in our giving.
Yeah.
That's the dichotomy. That's the beauty. That's this.
Isn't it crazy
It's
though? And
so
then we're taught like to be the giver
the giver.
and be
Yes.
selfless in that way, you
Right.
know? And then you have people like me that are very good at giving love and
Yes.
have a very difficult time the majority of their life receiving it.
Same. Because it
That's
wasn't
been,
because it wasn't
yeah,
true. receive.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
No, because if I received your love, you could break me.
Yes, you could hurt me. Yes.
Right? And
Yes.
isn't that the biggest lie? Because I create my own fucking safety, not you.
That's right. And even in your pain to me and all those horrible penetrations of that innocence, I still have been preserved in my innocence because you
Yeah.
never got me.
It's exactly. It's still there. I'm unraveling it now.
Yes.
Yeah. Even more proof that nothing is hindering us other than these thoughts that we carry.
That's right. I was talking to a therapist the other day and catching up with him, and he helped me tremendously in 2016 when I started unraveling and realigning.
Yeah.
And I was saying, I was talking about timelines and dimensions. I'm almost 12 years old and I'm getting beat with a bullwhip in the garage in my house. And as clear as day in this moment, as I can look at my microphone or this computer screen, I'm over my body seeing this happen. And that was my first experience, almost psychedelic experience of what I was there and I was there.
Trauma causes you to detach from your body. That's why trauma is used to split personalities. That's why people who've had massive amounts of the trauma in their life have had a very difficult time connecting to their body.
Yes.
And so we have to learn that in order to manifest ourselves, we have to soothe that disconnection. And we do that through reparenting that inner child that felt unsafe in their body when those things were happening. And so that's what I mean when I'm like, we create our own safety. You can pull that memory forward and be the father that you are now to yourself. And allow yourself to move through that, seeing the truth instead of carrying around that disassociation. Loving yourself in the spaces where you carry trauma sets you free. And you don't have to tune into it and let it overwhelm you, but look at it and allow yourself to see it for what it was. Your body was holding so much trauma in that moment that your spirit had to disassociate to maintain that energy field. It's like maintaining the God force, right? Why do you think so many people go through things like that and they choose to leave their body? Because they get up and they're in that disconnection, and God feels better than coming back into this and dealing with that.
That's right.
So here we are validating how brave of a soul you are once again. It's a very difficult thing to pay attention to the places where your trauma really sits and move into the root of what causes us to behave and react the ways that we do. Because our reactions to our present moment that happen based on these types of trauma, they really do manifest quickly in front of us. You'll pull people in that'll bring up those old experiences or old feelings of intimidation or, whatever came forward. And a lot of my clients are healing past relationship stuff like this, right? Where they're with somebody who is intimidating them or imposing trauma, whether it's mental or physical, in these ways. And then they have this disconnect and they're going, but why can't I manifest? Well, to manifest, the energy has to be in alignment. You pull what you're desiring into your body. If you're pulling your desire into your body and it's full of a bunch of shit, it's not going to get through. This isn't coming out, I don't even know where I was going with any of that.
Beautiful. It is. You can't. It's all these.
But it's.
Yes, go.
Go ahead. No, I was just saying it's like it's the energy of you seeing yourself, even you right now in this moment, just acknowledging the fact that you're outside of your body as a trauma response, you can connect deeper to that healing. It's like in the recognition, instantly you can begin to let it go. People think that we have to work so hard at these things and heal them. Like, now you should go journal about it and meditate about it and maybe offer a cacao ceremony at the next new moon. No, you released it right then and there. Why can't that be enough?
Yes,
right?
that is incredibly important point. I've always felt that it was instantaneous, but not immediate. Meaning,
Yes.
like, those two different.
Because that frequency is gone, but you still have to kind of fill that with the frequency that you're wanting. And
Yes.
that takes a new you.
Hmm.
It can be very easy to fill that right back up with fear and trauma because that's what's familiar. That's where you come in with that choice, light or dark. Are we changing or not?
Hmm.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Tell me, I want to know, so I want to hang out with you. That's what I really want to hang out. Did with guides and having your guides in the
Yeah.
communication everyone has their own journey. Was plant medicine part of your journey?
I love marijuana.
Uh-huh.
I smoke it frequently
Yeah.
still to this day. I enjoy sitting and
Yes.
allowing myself to kind of take that ceremony into my meditation and relax. I do a lot of sound healing.
Beautiful.
But in the beginning, I can say what got me into that channel space of connecting with my guidance 100% was the meditation. Because in the beginning, I didn't know what those subtle frequencies were like.
Mm.
Now it's a whole different game plan because, just like somebody who knows a second language, when you're in a bad mood, you don't forget your French. You're just in a shit mood. So channeling becomes that same way. It's a second language now because I've just learned how to interpret energy. But in the beginning, I really had to practice tuning into that. And what did that feel like? I had to write down the messages I was getting and then, kind of sit with them. What does that even mean? They didn't come in linear ways in the beginning. It would be very weird, like half light language and then like half a sentence.
Mm.
Even last night, my guide who I work with now, who's my future self, Ogzel, he said to me, emotion is the root of connection in the physical realm right now. And until we release emotion being the root of our connection, we're not going to understand how to connect. So what he was explaining to me in that moment is that the truth of us is frequency, and we connect in a space of frequency, not emotion. Emotion's the filter that we've been taught through the program. And what's happening in our world right now is they're trying to push the program even more to keep people from seeing their light as these waves of energy are coming in to help people ascend. And they want them to believe that their emotion needs to be fueled by this passion behind all of the wrongdoing instead of being fueled by the love that they are.
That is incredible. It makes so much sense that the frequency is it is before. I think this word before it's B and then for, and it's interesting because foresight, foreknowledge, for it means from I see in the future, but B for is actually the beingness now. Before, it's just such a cool word, but that frequency is before. And the emotion is kind of now.
The interpretation, it's the filter.
Yes. And
the frequency is what you pull into your body. The emotion is all the filters that you're trying to pull that frequency through.
Yes, that is so good.
Yeah.
That is so
it's good. The expression. Yeah, exactly. It's the essence. And so we want to kind of begin to move away from our attachment to emotion and think about what is the real frequency at play here. Yeah. You have so much more control when you tune into and begin to pay attention to the frequency of what you're sensing and feeling instead of the emotion of the circumstance that you see. Because when you turn and tune into one, you're focused very much in this physical realm and the physical realm only. When you're tuned into the other, you're seeing from broader perspective. You're tuned into that God space. Right?
Yeah. It's beautiful.
Yeah. Isn't today fun?
It's so fun. I'm so thankful that you've chosen this time. And thank you for speaking. Thank you for.
I hear you. Received. Breathe. Breathe.
Thank you.
Allow yourself that love too. There's no accident. that we're here today together.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
dear sister.
Yeah. We got this.
Yeah.
It's going to be fun. I'm excited to see what's next.
It's good.
There's just so much happening every single day. I feel the energy increasing in intensity every single day. And I'm just so excited to keep seeing where we're all heading with this, because it feels so good. And I know when things feel good, they're good.
Yes. Yes.
There's no deception in that.
Right.
Yeah. So, and we're ready. We're ready. We've been asking, we've been practicing lifetime after lifetime.
Yes.
And even if people don't believe that or don't feel that, that's fine.
Yeah.
Their experience will lead them where they need to go.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. Just keep trusting that. Keep trusting that everybody's being led. Everybody's being led, just like the light's calling you, the light's calling everybody else too. And whether or not they want to hear or move forward or take action, I mean, we don't know. They could be dealing with fear. They could be clearing trauma. We don't know where they're at. And to assume is just silly.
Yes.
So we just need to find more peace and trust in that everybody is being called by this light. And if they're not, it's none of your business.
Yeah, that's
none of your business.
Man, yes. Right.
None of your business.
Let it be. The very first global broadcast around the world via satellite television was the Beatles song. They played a brand new song that the world had never heard, and it was All You Need Is Love.
Yeah.
If that was the very first global message and instantaneous narrative, may we never forget that message was the heralding to what is coming, the age of love, the age of light, the age of life. And really life, like we've never understood the component.
It really is. It's like, it's life. It's like we're coming alive for the first time. It's like we've been sleeping this whole time.
Yes.
Literally sleeping. I look around sometimes and I literally will say to my fiance, like, how did we not notice this? It is so obvious. And sometimes we forget how much we move and we shift as we start to gather all this information. So it's good. It's good. There's just, and love is just like sticking your toe in the water. Love is, that's just the unity and the love that we're coming into as a collective. That's just us sticking our toes in the water. The creativity, the creation, the healing modalities, the connections, the amount of intimacy that will be able to be held between two people that are not in a sexual place, and for that to be okay and accepted and adored and loved. We're going to shift so much just because of that, just being able to connect with people in these ways that are true and real. Yeah, there's a lot coming. We do all need love, but we need the love that's real, and we need to know what that real love is. And the journey to that starts by going inside, because nobody's going to teach us how to love like this. We have to go inside and talk to that God force that we all have by birthright, and tune into that and see what you're here to express. Because we're not all here for the same things. We're not all here to fulfill the same role. So for somebody to look at you and hold you as an expectation, or somebody to look at me and hold me as an expectation, that's silly. Go within your heart and find that sweet spot for yourself and just stand there in your truth and shine. We don't need to be doing these huge gargantuan things. We just need to be speaking to each other in ways that lift each other up. Yeah, there's a lot of good in the world. And I'm not going to say that there's not a lot of bad in the world, because I'm very aware of that too. I don't live in this airy-fairy world that doesn't pay attention to things. So I'll be really clear about that, because I know I do keep myself in a high vibration. I'm aware of what's going on. I just choose to continue to look at where we're going, because I know energetically that adds momentum to that. And I want to see more of that. I didn't come here to watch disclosure. I didn't come here for the Great Awakening. My eyes are open. Your eyes are open. The people listening to this, their eyes are open too. So where our power lies is in manifesting what's next.
And to that end, Benjamin Franklin said, and people don't, we're just not taught the brilliance of these 57 men who put their names on a document that declared independence, not for this country, but for
humans. Humans.
on this planet, for all planets.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like, it is so
Yeah.
more profound than,
I'm
but
right there with you.
he said, instead of cursing the darkness, light a candle.
Yeah, invite it in.
Invite
I'm
it.
not afraid.
Yes.
I'm not afraid of your darkness, right?
That's right. That's right. And so many people are trying to fight. This is what I feel like I went into religion to try to break the system
Yeah.
and realize, no, I'm going to leave this, and then be an invitation like, hey, everyone, you can come out and play.
Yeah.
Light outside. And we don't have to focus on, the disclosure and it's just shine your light.
Yeah.
We are the light. We are the light.
It's there for the people who need it. There are people who need it. There are people that need to hear these things, that need to see these things and have their world and their conscious awareness of what's actually happening expanded.
Yes.
And I don't think that's a bad thing. I don't think recognizing what's existing here in this duality is a bad thing at all.
Right.
But like you're saying, we have to keep focusing on where we're going, because you don't build this new earth that we keep talking about by continuing to look at what is. That's not the way energy works, right?
That's right.
Yeah. So we just have to stay focused. Bless your sweetheart for allowing me to come here today.
Sweet. Sister, thank you.
Yeah, this has been so much fun.
Thank you. Whew. Sis, thank you for coming on. Thank you for blessing me. Thank you for the conversation. Thank you for being here at this now moment in this time for the Great Awakening. And every listener, every person watching, listening around the world, I bless you to be the fullest version of you. I bless you to be you in courage, in fortitude, in grit, in beauty, in the dance of this existence. What is it that you need to detach from right now? Right now. Is it a person? Is it media? Is it career? Is it some force, some energy, some predetermined flow that you did not choose for yourself, that you've just found yourself in? What do you need to detach from? And after detaching, what do you need to call in? Maybe it's eyes to see. Maybe it's ears to hear. Maybe it's a heart to love more fully, more robustly. What do you get to call in for yourself right now? Do you get to call in an infinite intellect? Do you need to call in unconditional and infinite love to fill and surround and wash you thoroughly and thoroughly? What do you need to call in, dear brothers and sisters? This is your time. This is your opportunity. Waste not another moment living in the 3D paradigm. Leave it. Exit it. Step into the fullness of love and light, where we all exist as one. I had a very clear, and I want to end with this. I had a very clear revelation the other night. I was shown that fighting, the purest form of fighting, exists to remove something. You remove threat, you remove something. That's the purest form of fighting, is to remove that which does not belong. Where we are going, what we are stepping into, where we are entering, the 5D realm, there will be no more fighting. Why? Because there will be nothing left to remove. There will be nothing left to remove. There will be no fighting between people. There will be no fighting between countries, because there will be nothing left to remove. You can begin this process now by removing the groupthink, removing the imitation love, removing the control, the judgment inside and outside of you to protect your space, to really get grounded in love so that you can ascend in the highest form of your purpose. These words may sound lofty. They may sound like rhetoric that is new to you, but I really encourage you and implore you to take time, study these words, look this information up, and spend loving time with yourself. Do you love yourself? I mean, truly, do you love yourself? It has taken me such a journey, so long. Even this past weekend, I was working on, do I love myself? I used to bite my fingernails and tear my hands, and I realized, have I ever, this is going to sound wild, but have I ever kissed my hands? Have I ever said, I bless you, hands. I bless you. We get to love ourselves. We get to step into this. So that is my encouragement. That is my blessing to you all. I am so thankful that Crystal came on. I'm so thankful that she shared her wisdom, knowledge, and beauty with the world, as she continues to do on all her platforms. So go follow her, find her, listen to her, and then take what she shares and internalize it for your own journey. I am Lucas Mack. I bless you with the infinite and unconditional love of God, and may you be blessed, my dear brothers and sisters. I'll talk to you on the next episode. Thank you, brothers and sisters, for listening. For support in your journey, go to my website, lucasmack.com.